Hi, my name is Dr. Sokolov. We are here at Markham Fall Home Show. We are so excited to be involved in the community. So what we do here today, we are supporting the charity. If you have friends, relatives, or anybody who needs to get examination or checkup, we'd love to donate our services today in exchange for a small donation to our charity. It's Chiropractors with Compassion. Any day, any time, we are committed to Markham Show, Markham Home Show, and we love to see our community healthy.
Because posture is actually a dynamic thing. It's not a static thing. It has to be utilized while we're doing things. Make sense? Because what would be the point if you are dead with the good posture? Right? We need to be alive. And that's the skeletal system structure showing exactly what I described to you. Ear opening, center of the shoulder joint, hip joint, knee joint, and the ankle joint. If it's like this, then our nervous system experiencing zero tension, zero stress, and zero discomfort. Let's talk about that, because this is really fascinating. Because many people asking, how is the posture affecting health? Well, if the posture is well, then the nervous system, brain stem and the spinal cord experiencing zero tension. What it means, brain controls function, healing, and recreation of every cell, every organ, and every tissue. So I'm going to give you a quick example. I had the family come in and they bring in 2-year-old child, say, well, our child has multiple ear infections. And they've been like on 10 bouts of different antibiotics, and it seems like work for 10 or 15 days, and 2 months later, this child back on antibiotics again. Well, here's the challenge. We examined this child, and we found a problem in the neck, because child was delivered with epidural injection. What it means that the mother experiencing pain, so they injected the special needle in the spinal cord, injected the special drug that numbs the nerves, and mother does not experience pain. At the same time, what she cannot do, she cannot control her uterus very well, so they put oxytocin on top. It's a special medication that stimulates the uteral contraction. And the baby going through the birth canal with 20 to 40 times more force than it should be, so it gets injured in the neck area, and therefore nerves from the neck going to the middle ear, everywhere sinuses, everywhere throat, nose, face, everywhere. And if it's not been detected, this child would be continuously be sick or experiencing immune system dysfunction all day long. So we've been blessed. The mother brought the child to be able to do examination, identify the issue, start working with this child, and the child never got sick after that. Absolutely phenomenal things. But the truth is, the nervous system is responsible for function, healing, creation, and recreation. Listen to this. Every cell, every tissue, cardiac, pulmonary, immune, every tissue in the body, and the organ in the body. This comes from the Gray's Anatomy. This is all known by any doctor. The truth is, it's ignored the most commonly. Why is it commonly ignored? Because there's a third-party interest in the medical system, like pharmaceutical companies, they stimulate the drugs distribution. And unfortunately, doctors commonly forget to tell the patients the truth. And they discourage to do the full proper evaluation. So, let's look at different postures. So the normal postures we described right at the back, but how often do we see this? I have these questions asking me all the time, my patients. They ask me, Dr. Dmitry, how often do you find a normal posture? I'm like, really rarely. Why? I ask them, how often do you find normal healthy teeth if person never brushed their teeth, never flossed their teeth, never took care of their teeth? The probability is slim, right? Close to zero. So the truth is, we need to take care of this, because what's happening right now, it's actually epidemiological condition, because we have cell phones, computers, multiple intervention with kids, all of those things. So, and it's causing a huge distraction. Just look at this. I'm glad these people are posing, but the truth is what's happening with their necks. Look what's happening with their necks. See, it's getting stretched, it's getting forward like that. And if it's forward, what happens? Your spinal cord inside experiencing tension and traction. Therefore, those nerves not function very well. And then we're wondering, why is this a big correlation between cell phone use, computer use, and growth in the disease in our society? Let's talk about, for example, hypertension. More? Way more. Let's talk about asthma in children. More? Way more. Let's talk about allergies in children. Folks, we are here a little bit older, and I know when we went to high school, maybe we didn't have people with allergies and asthma. Now you go to my son's high school, what do we have there? A disaster. 54% of children right now experiencing chronic conditions in terms of asthma, allergies, or other immunological dysfunction. And we are not even talking about depression, sleep problems, behavioral problems, and so on and so forth, which is all controlled by the nervous system. So let's look at those happy pictures. Look at this. It starts from early childhood, right? Birth process, unnatural. Then first thing we do, we give our kids a pacifier in the form of electronic games. That's disaster. Then look at this posture. Look at that. Falls. Many different impacts causes the postural deviation. And the challenge is that we've been told that unless you feel good, don't worry about that, right? This is lie. There's nothing, no correlation whatsoever between symptoms and disease and sickness. Why? Listen to this. It's very, very important. Cardiovascular conditions. Let's take heart attack, for example. Person may develop cardiovascular condition for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, have zero symptoms whatsoever. One day, heart attack. In 50% of the cases, within heart attack, the first symptom the person experiencing is death. Same as cancer, for example. 90% of the cancers are found accidentally and in advanced stage. But when the cancer happened, you think like night before, week before? No, it happened weeks and months and maybe years and even decades earlier. That's just because we never properly checked the person, or person understood that I feel good, so I don't need to do all those things, right? They base their health care based on their sensation, and they've been totally misled. That's why we see growth in sicknesses, in pediatric sicknesses, in adult sicknesses, cancer on the rise, cardiovascular conditions on the rise, diabetes is on the rise, all those things that are killing us. Why? Because we ignore our posture. And this is scary because the more we ignore it, the sicker we get. Mayo Clinic did this study. They found 5,000 different conditions that kill humankind. They found one common denominator. It's abnormal posture. One common denominator. What does it tell us? It tells us that the posture is crucial for human life. And let's talk about science more, because I'd like to jump to that. I have a literally very little time. So 3 causes of postural dysfunction. It's the physical, so start from the birth process, falls, jumps, any type of impact, car accidents, using cell phones, PTA devices. You know, I have a cell phone. If you pass by my booth, you probably saw me sitting like this, right? I didn't do that. Why? Because I understand I don't want to have traction on my brain and I want to be healthy. But I also get adjusted by chiropractor regularly. Emotional stress, you know, when we're angry, when we're upset, when we become judgmental, when we become unforgiving, that causes postural deviation. Because if you're angry, you don't need to be a neurologist, you don't need to be a psychiatrist. You can identify a person as angry or not, based by how they look, based on their posture. Am I right? If they're depressed, if they're sad, am I right or am I right? Just agree with me, yeah, I know that. So, chemical toxins. You know, we're using lots of chemicals that are not natural to our normal human existence. So we need to work right now on the cleansing chemicals. So eliminate all those cleansing agents because, number one, cleansing agents, they usually affect solubles. So like acetone, alcohol. So what happens in our human body, if you consume it or clean your house with this, it evaporates, and then we inhale that. When we inhale that, those same chemical molecule goes to our cell membrane and dissolves this. So our cells die. And we don't feel it. We may cough, sneeze, get the breakdown cells or those waste products out, and we don't feel how we're getting sick. So we need to take care of all of those three elements: physical, emotional, and chemical health. All right, let's talk about subluxation. Who have ever heard the word subluxation before? One person, maybe two. Oh, here we go, 2 people, that's amazing. So subluxation is the general term defining a postural dysfunction. So what it means, that the posture is out of alignment, those bones shift off of alignment, they apply pressure on the nerves, on the spinal cord, and our health starts declining. That's why your grandparents notice it, that if child has a bad posture, they get sick. They don't need the science, but now we have the proof of that the grandmothers, grandfathers, and mothers were right when they wanted to take care of kids' health in terms of posture, how they sit, what they do, how they exercise, emotional health. So subluxation is actually life-threatening. Why? Because it's called a silent killer. It's like one of those conditions like cancer or diabetes or hypertension. We don't feel it, but eventually, if you let it hang in long enough in you, it's going to kill you because nerve compression, nerve compromise, and the body cannot restore its normal function. So let's move on. This solid line indicates where this neck should be. This is the X-ray of the person from the side. This is their neck. When it's not aligned properly, it's a huge challenge. Huge challenge because the brainstem is traction. More traction, less power, less healing, less control of growth and development of organs. So it looks, on the outside, if you look at this person, you know, everybody is kind of doing this, doing that. And it looks healthy on the outside, but on the inside they're truly dying. Because the nerves cannot do their work. Immune system dysfunction, all those things. It's crazy. What about this person? What about that?
Oh.
And this is epidemics right now, because if you think about it, how many people have cell phones? I do. Well, it's close to 90% of population right now have a cell phone, including babies. So 10% of babies may not have the cell phone yet. 10% of population don't have a cell phone. 90 do. Do you know why those companies write a very simple note on the manual? They say, we are not responsible for the health hazard that this device causes. Very little disclaimer in the manual. Why? Because they know those toys may cause postural deviation, causes the subluxation, causes the traction on the nerve system, and literally cause the health damage. Besides emission that they do, like electromagnetic emission that they have. So, and that's dissections of those bodies. That's how we know that the spinal cord, look how thick it is in the phase 1, and how thin it gets slowly and slowly and slowly, diminishing the function of the person, humankind. And the other things, the length of this injury. So when the posture is misaligned, it causes breakdown of those joints. So basically, discs, ligaments get degraded, and we call it arthritis in life. And the truth is, medical system discourage you to go see a chiropractor. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, 100%. And they also say 100% have arthritis. Well, it is true. You don't take care of yourself properly from the functional perspective, you're gonna get sick. They're not lying to you, but they discourage you to approach properly. Why? That's not because they're fault, because they've been tuned into the pharmaceutical industry. And this is the big money point, unfortunately. So here's the study we talked about. 50 randomly chosen cadavers, 139 organs disease that killed those 50 people. 128 were correlated to the same spinal curve in the nerve setting in the spine. And the 10 diseases were correlated to the nerve above and the nerve below. Now, what I'd like to point out, look at this. It's either the same nerve, or nerve above, or nerve below. Do you understand? So they did the study of the curvatures, and they found out that person, for example, died from the heart attack. He had issue either with the neck or with the mid-back. That's what they found out. And that's crazy if you think about it. How many people complain about back issues? Well, here's the OHIP study for you, because when chiropractic was covered by OHIP, we could collect statistics. And what they said, including the hospitals, chiropractic offices combined together, 100% of the population once in their lifespan complained about either neck or back pain. And the 60% of population experiencing discomfort at any given day. 60% of population and 100% of population within the lifespan. So the reality is this. 138 diseases that killed those 50 cadavers were correlated to the wrong spinal alignment. So it's approximately 99% of human death is related to neurological dysfunction that caused by poor posture. Here's the cool thing. It was studied twice, in 1921, and they said, well, it's not good enough. Let's do the same study in 2004. This data was identical. Identical data. What it means? That for the 100 years, nothing changed. Poor posture kills people. This is another study. Neurosurgeon Alf Brick said, most doctors are aware of the traction of the hindbrain cranial nerves and the spinal cord from the flexion of the head. So when we are chronically sitting or reading our emails or whatever, we have traction in our nerve system. But you have read work in sufficient details to realize a multitude of different postures and adverse effect on the central nervous system function. Crazy. So, paradoxes for you. Survival of the newborn governed mainly by integrity of the brainstem. Brainstem is located right in the neck, right here. Yet, injuries to brainstem was rarely diagnosed and rarely actually attracts attention of the physicians. Why? Because I have never seen a baby coming out from the birth canal and saying, Mama, I had just an injury during the birth process. By Magna report, chiropractors are the best doctors to correct vertebral subluxation and dysfunction in my neck, so could you please bring me to the chiropractor? Have you seen babies talk like this? I haven't. That's why we're here talking to adults and parents, because it's so rarely happened, and it's also our kids get sick. What rarely happens is that parents actually bring the children for checkups. Now it happens more and more often. We are blessed because the information gets spread from word of mouth, and some doctors start referring to us, but we are getting more excited about that. But the truth is those kids getting healthy yet. And that's what we are really blessed and happy about. So, couple of minutes, I know I have to go soon. Hold on. Alright. Subluxation leading to imbalance in life. So what has been referred to, so the abnormal posture influences the nervous system and been linked to sudden infant death syndrome. What it means that baby can just die with no signs and symptoms whatsoever. Life and the next second is death. Next, balance problem. How many elderly people experience imbalance problem? Visual disturbances, tinnitus, imbalance between sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system is the system that controls our organs. And also, impaired development of pediatric central nervous system. You know what, this is the key, because adults, it's a grown-up kids. And I can tell you how many parents want their children to have better behavior. I do. Better listening. I do. Better sport or academic achievements. I do. So what controls all of this? Brain. And if it cannot develop properly, guess what? You tell your child not to pick it up, something that you don't want to pick them up. They can't even comprehend what you're saying because their nervous system is malfunctioning. And then we blame those kids, ADD, ADHD, gives them drugs, whatever, and it doesn't solve any issues because what happens, we have right now 300 times more autistic kids than in the last 10 years, than 10 years ago. That's insane. But in the same time, what is correlated to intervention due to the birth process, epidural injections, C-sections, use of vacuums, use of vacuum extractor, forceps delivery. All those things damaging the kids' necks, damaging the spine, and now kids get, as a result of this, more sick. And I'm not getting tired talking about this because my heart hurts when I see kids going for years and years, decades and decades, medication for medication, from doctor to doctor, and getting sicker and sicker, and at the end they die. And you know, I see different age people, from childhood to elderly population. And it's almost like travel in time. You know, you collect their health history, and you can see how health been lost. So, here's another awesome study. Tethering, adverse prolonged stretching of the central nervous system, meaning the spinal cord. This results spinal cord ischemia. Ischemia is a lack of the oxygen in the brain. Does anyone want to have a lack of oxygen in the brain? Everybody wants to have a normal circulation and a normal oxygen in the brain, right? Because that's brain function. So those postural problems, postural deviations, causes motor, sensory, and autonomic dysfunction. Motor, the way we move. Sensory, the way we perceive our environment. And autonomic nervous system dysfunction, those organs that are controlled by the nervous system. So tethering of spinal cord has been linked to demyelinating diseases such as multiple sclerosis. Well, let me tell you, you go to the sick kids hospital and they tell you that multiple sclerosis is incurable. And you have multiple people who come in, getting adjusted, getting spine corrected, nervous system improves function, and they're no longer experiencing any signs and symptoms of the multiple sclerosis. Total craziness, if you think about that. They went to sick kids, they told they never gonna get cured, they went to the chiropractor. We didn't cure their multiple sclerosis, don't get me wrong. Their body cured it, because the function of the body can heal. You are designed to heal, my body is designed to heal. We have this capacity breathed into us. We're designed to function well, we're designed to recreate. every day 180 billion cells repair and replace normally. Unless the brain is malfunctioning, then those cells won't degrade and we get sick. Another one. This is total brand new science. It's not even been exposed to the public yet. I'm wondering how long is it going to take to get this exposure? Because from 2000 everybody's quiet about this. I wonder why. Because there's no money into it, right? Subluxation leading to altered DNA expression. So genetic code cannot express perfectly because the brain is not functioning well. So what happens, let me explain to you how it works. So if the bone is out of alignment, it has a potential around it. So if you balance, your body has a perfect electromagnetic field inside. If you change that, the electromagnetic field changes. It's called aura or whatever, you've heard of this. So electromagnetic field changes, and when it changes, it affects nervous system function, so electrical nerve interference. So when those nerves are interfered with this magnetic field, so if you're standing like this, it creates a negative field and the nerves malfunctioning. And the DNA of the cell cannot express genes properly, which leads to conditions like cancer. Oops. And we keep donating to a pharmaceutical research of cancer and they still couldn't find a cure. Maybe it's not in the molecular cure, maybe it's in the nervous system. Who knows? I'm just saying that's what they studied. Alright, and this is the last one I'd like to show you. Asymmetries in the posture leads to mobility issues. So, eventually, if you don't correct your spine or the joint mobility, what happens? The joints break down. It's like a vehicle. If your wheels out of alignment, if your car does not have a normal alignment, those joints breaking down. The ball bearings, the tires wear out, the brakes not work properly, suspension does not work properly, and the car becomes dangerous, right? Unsafe. Same physics works on the human body. If those joints not align properly, they wear out 300% faster, meaning 3 times faster than they should. So if normal human being supposed to be fully mobile, fully functional, no pain, no problems, till 80 to 120, when do we start experiencing challenges? Somewhere 3 times faster, somewhere at the age between 30 and 40. Yeah, and then it's all ignored with medication and the condition propagates. So, nothing wrong to have a medication in life. Why? Because occasionally it may save your life. But it does not cure any condition. Don't get me wrong, it does not cure any condition. It's just a symptom care. You have a blood pressure, antihypertensive drug. Inflammation, anti-inflammatory drug. Make sense? Constipation, laxative. You get too much laxative, diarrhea, anti-diarrheal drug. None of those drugs know what the problem is. So why do we get sick? Well, because we ignore the primary nervous system function. That's why. Here's the answer for you. You don't need to answer. So, Ron Perro, he is the chief cancer prevention in New York Preventative Medicine Institute, professor of medicine in New York University, studied chiropractic patients, long-term chiropractic patients. So long-term meaning they've been under chiropractic care 2 to 4 years. And what they found, that chiropractic patients has 200% greater immune competence than control group. Control group, it's normal healthy individuals that never been adjusted. Or 400% greater immune competence than cancer patients. Isn't it awesome? Here's your anti-cancer drug for you. So, if you've never been checked by chiropractor, I obviously suggest go and check your posture. Because if your posture is abnormal, we already know that it affects your nervous system function and your health. And it has to be taken care of. has to be taken care of. If your nerves don't work, then nothing would work. You can exercise. Exercises are awesome. I exercise 6-7 times a week, but I also have a good posture. Therefore, my exercises is not causing the breakdown of my joints. Do you understand? Because if joint is out of alignment, you load it with exercises, you actually increase speeding the process of breaking down and the arthritis development. I also eat healthy. We talk about chemical health. Because if my spine is well aligned and my nerves function well, but I eat junk, guess what? There's no good built-in material, so therefore I'm still gonna get sick. Make sense? So chiropractic care, it's not like a magic pill, alright? Chiropractic care gives people an opportunity to function and live healthy. And also, in addition to it, yes, you do need to exercise. Yes, you do need to eat healthy, normal, nutritious food. Yes, you do need to do detoxification. Yes, you do need proper spiritual and emotional health. You need to maintain that, like regular either meditation or prayer or whatever type of spiritual practices you need. And you need proper academic development too. You need to read. Make sense? So this is the coolest thing that we have ever known, that the brain has unlimited capacity, because even the most advanced people on planet Earth still using less than 1% of their brain capacity. Isn't it awesome? So imagine if we can just improve our brain function just a little bit. That would be absolutely phenomenal. Well, thank you for your time, thank you for your effort. If you have more questions, visit us in Building 3. We have booth there and you can ask me all those questions. I really appreciate your time.